So, guys, the other day we talked about the wide receiver rookie hits. Today we're going to be talking about the rookie wide receiver misses. Guys, Treylon Burks, are you taking him or Miles Sanders?
Burks.
Treylon Burks or a 23-second and a 24-second?
Burks.
Treylon Burks or a 24 first?
I'll take the pick.
I was about to get all snooty and stuff, but now it's going to be hard when I'm just like, yeah, I'll take the pick.
Let's talk about Treylon Burks. We got a little bit of a baseline there. Scott, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say that he's been a disappointment because his usage has been pretty good, at least through the first 3 games. The weird thing about Burks is you had to kind of extrapolate his usage so far and be like, well, you know, he's running this many routes and, you know, this is his like usage rates, but he hasn't had one of those games where it's like, oh, he got 10 targets, you know, or he had a 30% market share in a game and you're going, okay, finally he's turned the corner. And so he's a tough one to value. Like 2 weeks ago, I would have told you I would have given up a 24 first for him because his usage looked like it was trending up. And then the last 2 weeks, it's kind of been like, last week he had 1 catch. Then this week he left the game injured. And all of a sudden I'm like, I'll take a first to just hit the re-roll button. So that's how finicky we are in these guys. But I've heard some people say, you know, he was a guy that needed these reps too. Like he was a raw player. So for him to miss like half the season with this injury, I think you might be going into the offseason going like, okay, cool. He played like 8 games, 10 games, but who knows? Like who knows what the situation is going to look like in the future. And then you kind of fast forward and you go, even if he were to hit, it's the best case that he hits on. Like he's got to be like AJ Brown good to even be a wide receiver 2. So it's just tough. It's just, I'm out if I can get it and I'll buy back in because I think there'll be a lull.
I think Treylon Burks is definitely not a miss, right? He's got a higher target share than Jahan Dotson. It's just that Jahan Dotson scores a touchdown every 2 receptions. He didn't see the 30% target share, 20% target share that we really wanted, but he has 15.8, which isn't bad for a rookie. And he also saw a 53% snap share. It's much better than the next 2 players we're going to talk about. Like it's not great, but it's a good snap share for a rookie. And I think we thought for him to hit his upside, he was going to basically need to be like AJ Brown light anyway. So I don't think that changes any. If someone wanted to give me Treylon Burks for Miles Sanders, I mean, that's something that I would jump on.
Treylon Burks isn't a pure miss. We're going to talk about Jameson Williams as well. He's a TBD guy. But let's do another trade with Treylon Burks. Would you rather have him or Patrick Freiermuth and a 23-second?
Just tight end premium, 1.5?
1.5.
The fact that you called him Patrick Freiermuth.
I know.
I'm kind of going like, you know, if he's a Patrick now and not just a Pat, that sounds cooler. I actually could justify taking the Freiermuth in the second and trying to trade Pat Freiermuth. You know, if I can get 2 seconds for Pat Freiermuth, I'm basically getting 3 seconds for Treylon Burks. I would do that.
Patrick has shown me a little more than I thought he had than last year when he was just kind of touchdown dependent. So it is part of like Patrick has risen up a little bit. And then the second is just a little sweetener.
All right, so guys, we're going to move over to Skyy more, but if you wouldn't mind, look down, and if you would hit that little thumbs up and give us a like, we would appreciate that. That's the easiest way to help out our little channel here. Thank you very much. Skyy Moore or a 24 first?
24 first.
Pick.
Easy?
Yes.
What about Skyy Moore or a projected very early 23 seconds and a 24 second?
Picks. I would take Treylon Burks over Skyy Moore. So that's where it's kind of like, if you're going to take the deal for Burks, you kind of have to take the same process with Skyy Moore, even though Skyy Moore is not injured.
Can I tell you Skyy Moore's target share on the season?
It's very bad.
You can.
3.6% target share. That's 3.
That's not elite, right?
There's a 0 in front of the 3, not after. I love Skyy Moore coming in, right? But Skyy Moore, I needed to see something. Again, I didn't need him to go out there and put up Drake London numbers, but I needed 15%. I needed him to show me that he's part of the offense a little bit. The thing is if you still believe in Skyy Moore, I'm fine holding on to him for a couple more weeks because I can't imagine that his value dips any lower than a second if you're still getting a second for him right now. And it does have the ability to rise. The one good thing about that Kansas City offense is Juju Smith-Schuster is not really a wide receiver 1. Martavius Valdez-Scantling is not a wide receiver 1, so there's still room for him to there's still room. Whatever. It doesn't matter. 4 weeks is a small sample size, and I will say he does have his best week with 4 targets.
Other than Juju Smith-Schuster, the other receivers on the Chiefs are bad. And so to see his usage jump up to where, he ran 11 routes, which was more than he's run basically all season. And he got 4 targets on the 11 routes. So there is room for somebody to emerge here. And I agree with my co-host Sean over there. That's something where you can buy Skyy Moore for a cheap price, and you're just gambling that he's in a situation where if he does go out and have a big game, there's going to be people that are back in. So he has that going for him too. Yep. So I think that's one thing you can look at. I mean, the other problem though is how much is the risk going to cost compared to what his price was? Like David Bell has a higher target share than him, and no one even thinks David Bell's even playing. So I mean, you look at something like that and you go, okay, yeah, can I? And I look at David Bell and I go, better prospect profile. Now the draft capital wasn't as high, but I can see an upside with David Bell down the line too when Watson comes back. So can you get Skyy Moore goes out and pops and has a big game? Can you get a 24 first and David Bell? Maybe. And then, but you may end up getting the equivalent receiver. So he's a player I want to have shares of because of how volatile his value will be if he hits. And I think that's what he's always been. It's like I'm drafting the guy that's an unknown, but damn, he's on the Chiefs.
It doesn't take much. Yeah, exactly.
He's on the
Patrick
Chiefs.
Mahomes is quarterback.
Like if this guy pops, there's going to be people that really like him. Hey, me. You look at his collegiate profile, it's really good. There's a reason that we were in on him. And considering the cost, I think most drafts you got him somewhere between 108 and 201. I don't think that cost is extremely expensive. So holding on to him, even if he busts out, it's not like that should be it shouldn't be something that hurts your franchise long term, right? Like I don't think anyone drafted Skyy Moore and went, all right, there's my wide receiver 1, I'm set.
So if you wanted to buy Skyy Moore, would you pay a projected early 23 second for him?
Yes.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I'll just answer it this. He is one of those players where as soon as you try to buy him, people revert back to what he could be and what his price was before. If you try to sell him, if you try to sell him, people remind you of what he's done so far and why he's not going to be any good and why they should have never drafted him in the first place. So he is one of those players that it's really hard to find a fair price because both sides are going to be telling themselves, well, it's like someone that wants to buy your company and they'll give you 10% over the market value, but you have a 50% chance of it going up in value 10 times in the next year. They're going, I'm selling you at a guaranteed profit and this business could go out of business. And you're going, well, man, it could be worth 10 times what it's worth in a year. Why would I sell it, only a 10% markup? So both sides are telling themselves the story because of a small sample size about how they're on the right side of the asset. So trades are hard. I think a savvy deal would be, can you sell Jahan Dotson? Unfortunately, he's injured now, but can you sell Jahan Dotson and a second for Skyy Moore and a first? And you're basically just betting, you know what? I'm getting equivalent players. One just hasn't done anything yet, and one has done something. People know one has scored some touchdowns, and they think he's good. So you're alleviating their risk from Skyy Moore going, oh, well, maybe I got a bust in Skyy Moore. Jahan Dotson's probably not a bust. But he might be, Christian Kirk in Arizona. That's his career. You're okay. Well, I don't necessarily love that for the first 4 years. So I think that's how you do it. You got to put him in a trade. It can't just be, hey, what do you want for Skyy Moore, Shane? Well, Shane's not taking a 24 second. God, what do you want to sell me Skyy Moore? Shane, how about a 24 first? No. So neither side's going to budge. You got to find the middle ground. That's very hard with a player like him.
All right, so guys, next we have Jamison Williams. Now, he isn't exactly a miss because we haven't seen him yet, and we didn't expect him to come out onto the field and immediately do anything. Week 6 is their bye. Is he maybe going to come back week 7? Shane, when he does, is he going to be any good? What are your thoughts?
He will be good. There was hope prior to the season that maybe Amon-Ra St. Brown, if you're a Jameson Williams guy, that Amon-Ra St. Brown not struggled, but didn't come out and absolutely smash like he has this year with Hawkinson and DeAndre Swift on the field. I think, at least on my part, I've come to the realization or the conclusion or the belief that when Jameson Williams gets there, he's going to be the Robin to Amon-Ra St. Brown's Batman. It doesn't mean he can't give you really good splash weeks. I just don't think he's going to be a 120 target guy. I think he's closer to like 90 to 100 targets. Some of those are going to be obviously very big plays. So I think he will be good. I think he'll be, I don't want to say weapon, but I think he's more going to be the second option in that offense, which apparently is fine because it's the highest scoring offense in the league. But if anyone has illusions about him being a wide receiver one on an offense and they want to trade me and pay me commensurate to that, then I'll deal him.
23-second or Jameson Williams?
James Shane got so excited that he was on mute, but I'll take easily Jamison Williams.
23 seconds and a 24-second or Jameson Williams?
JAMO.
Yeah, I think the market value on Jameson is, I mean, it's George Pickens range. There's a lot of people that are going, I want to buy. I'm trying to buy before that, they're following the success of the other rookie receivers and saying, I want to buy this guy. I think the one thing about Jamison Williams that I'm looking for is like DJ Chark's a decent player. Josh Reynolds is a decent player. TJ Hawkinson's a decent player. DeAndre Swift's a decent player. Amon-Ra St. Brown's a decent player. I think there's like these grand illusions that he is going to come back and actually be usable. Like we're stashing him in a bunch of high stakes redraft leagues. And I like taking the shot on a guy with his talent, but I actually think there's too many usable players for him to do anything really than just come back and show that he has a lot of potential in 2023. Like if he can come back and play 6 games and he puts up 60 points in fantasy over those 6 games, maybe one of those games is 15 points. One of those games is 18 points. And then the others are, he catches a couple balls. But like, I don't think the expectation is going to be that he contributes much this year. And that's not because he's not capable. It's just, I don't see him coming in and just playing over Josh Reynolds or DJ Chark and they just get nothing. They've been too good. They've earned at least snaps. Maybe one of those guys, but I don't think he just comes in and is the wide receiver 2, which really in the offense is going to be the option number 3, number 4, number 5. So I just don't see it. And this is the fantasy offense you want this year. They have the worst defense. Yep. They've had the most possessions. They've scored the most touchdowns. They've allowed the most touchdowns. They have a quarterback that's thrown 2 pick sixes. Like this is exactly what you want, right? And the cool thing about the Lions is they don't ever stop. They have a coach that's like, let's go for it. Let's keep rolling. Let's just put up as many points. Like they're basically playing they're playing a video game, which is what we want. It is the opposite of what other crappy teams are doing. There's going to be opportunity for him, but I just won't be shocked if we look back and we go, wow, he was the wide receiver 5 on the Lions for this year. And there's these other guys. Why are they throwing the ball to Josh Reynolds? Why are they throwing the ball to DJ Chark? And it's like, well, those guys are better than most teams' wide receiver 3s and wide receiver 4s. So I just look for him to kind of put a runway out there for 2023.
If you owned him, are you going to sell him for a 24 first?
No, I want to see what he's got.
That's close. If you just wanted the liquidity of having the pick, I could get it. Like if you could go turn around and buy Treylon Burks with the same pick, then I would do that. I can see it both ways. I can see people holding strong and not selling for a 24 first just because they know they're pot committed. And he didn't have his surgery. He tore his ACL in like July or January 10th. Didn't have his surgery till like the end of January. So to even expect like he should be out there right now, I think it's a little bit ahead of the game. So I can see him missing the most of the year, and it's not going to change the valuation for the people that have him.
All right. So if you've made it this far, you should probably hit that little subscribe button if you're not already subscribed. I think we earned your business by now. Not the worst Dynasty football content that you'll ever see. So hit that subscribe. Give us a couple shows. I guarantee you'll like us. Okay. Let's go to Christian Watson.
There's a little bit of bias that goes into this. I don't think any of us liked Christian Watson before the draft. I don't think any of us really took much Christian Watson. So the fact that he was hurt all offseason, hurt into training camp, the emergence of Romeo Doubs, who we covered on the last show, tied to a quarterback who the hell knows how he's going to treat rookies. First game he goes out, drops that long pass. Yeah. So everyone saw that. That was magnified of like, of course, the narrative is Rodgers is never going to trust him again. And then to boot, he was a 4-year player at an FCS school that I think most people said, he's going to need to come in and kind of learn the ropes. Like he's never played at this level before. So it was literally, if you're a Christian Watson fan, you're probably saying literally everything that could go wrong for him from the day he was drafted to now has gone wrong. Like, he got the draft capital, but then he has the injury. And then he has a situation where, like, you never know if the quarterback's just going to freeze him out if he's not Devontae Adams from day one. Then he has a 4th-round rookie who's been, like, basically the story of the rookie class in terms of the value that you got him on. It's like all these things you're going like, okay, maybe we can't judge Christian Watson. But at this point, I mean, he has under an 8% target share. It almost makes me wonder, is it worse that he's on the field and Doubs is so much better than him? Like that's the concern. Isn't that he's not good? It's just, the the Packers are this is the weakest the Packers wide receiver room is ever going to be. And there's a 4th-round rookie that's lapping him, and I don't see it stopping. So it's almost like, is he almost just going to play second fiddle to a guy in his own class, and they're both at risk of them trading or drafting somebody else next year as well. So it's just tough to be excited about him. Like, do I want him on rosters? Sure, but at half the cost of what he cost in drafts, and just people aren't going to give up a, high 2nd-round rookie receiver for that price. So I think I'm out.
Would you trade him away for a 24-second, random 24-second?
I think so. Especially if I can turn that second into something else. Like if I can buy a month worth of running back starts for it, I think you can justify doing that. Yeah.
Shane, 24-second, bye-bye Christian Watson.
He's gone. Look, he was boom bust, right? We knew that. Like you were taking a shot on the physical traits. The concerns that we had was that he was raw as a route runner, even though he's 36 years old and he was in college for 9 years, and drops. And what have been his issue so far? Oh, he's not good at running routes, and he drops passes.
He's still old.
And he's still old. He's even older now. Now he's in his 40s. Romeo has clearly surpassed him in every measure. I'm fine with moving on from him. We were talking about Skyy Moore earlier. Skyy Moore's a guy I'm willing to hold on, even though he's been just as bad in different ways, just because his college profile was better. So there's more to believe in. So I'm willing to give him a little more rope.
Would you give a 3rd for him, or would you rather buy a spot start from an RB with that 3rd?
I mean, I would buy for a 3rd, because I think all it takes with a 3rd is literally he has one good game, and you'll have a sector of people that are going, oh, let's buy low on Christian Watson. I mean, he has appeal. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to wait with the appeal on my roster with an investment cost of a 2nd or more. That's the difference. If I can get out and then get back in for a 3rd sometime, sure. I'll just wait for another time where I can sell for a 2nd again, because I think that will happen.